So I will tell you a little bit about myself. I am
Please.
Ajwad. I go by the name The Falcon Trader on YouTube.
Okay.
I'm 27 years old, almost 27, and I've been trading since I was 19. I came to
Okay.
know about Forex from YouTube, and one of my friend, he told me about that as well. So since 2017, January 2017, I have been learning. At the time, I was learning from one guy. His name is Naveen Prithyani. He's very famous. Like he was running the community Urban Forex at that time.
Hmm.
And it took me like 2.5 years to basically start making some consistent money from the market. Then in February 2019, I came to know about FTMO. And
Yeah.
at that time, no, like FTMO was the only one which was like bit famous at that time who was funding traders. So, and we were under the impression, of course, for a very long time that they are actually funding traders with the real capital and all that thing. So I got funded with them, took one payout, then blew the funded account. Then I was funded with BlueFX, who
Okay.
were in UK, and they were like giving instant funding accounts. And then I got funded again with FTMO in 2020, like took out some payouts. Then it was after that was a long journey. Like I started YouTube channel in 2021. At the same time, I was funded with Funding Talent. I was funded with my Forex fund. And luckily, like I was, I was from Pakistan and now I live in the UK. And in Pakistan, when you're just starting out, I will say I was like at the time when I started learning trading, I was just in the university. I was starting my bachelor's in computer science. And it's not like the US or the Western countries. Like there, you have to actually complete your bachelor's degree. Then and only then you start to earn some of the money. Like, and the pay
Right.
is there. They are like $400-500 per month.
Right.
And at the age of 2021, I was making $2,000-3,000 a month, and for me at the time it was a lot.
Decent
Then when
amount
I
for sure.
yeah, so in 2021 when I started to see a lot of improvement in my trading, and at the same time I started to work on the YouTube channel. I remember at one point I made like it was I think in 2022 I made $22,000 payout, and that was a life-changing one. Like one payout in just 2 weeks with the funded trader program that was 22,000. I was like, what the hell? The amount of
Somebody's
money.
almost yearly salary, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So then overall, I think like since 2020, mid of 2021, since I documented my journey, I made over like 250,000 so far, mostly
Great.
with the pro firms, and some of the profits were made on my personal account as well.
Right. So, I mean, you've unpacked a lot of stuff here. First of all, I want to just note every professional that we interview here, every single one of them says the same thing: 2 3 years, 2 3 years to just get like okay-ish,
Yeah,
and yeah, and it's true, and that's what I used to say a lot before, years, a decade ago, to a lot of like new traders. And they're like, "Whoa, this is on the internet. This guy said in 45 days, and I'll be trading and I'll be winning." I'm like, no, it takes about 2 3 years. And no, and unfortunately, if I'm gonna, if you're selling courses, for example, you're gonna say 2 3 years, nobody's gonna buy your course. So
yeah,
everybody says, yeah, 30 days, you'll be fantastic. And it's obviously nonsense. So it's this business is tough because for 2 3 years of rigorous banging against the wall type of it's a very tough, you have to have very thick skin, because it's if most people cannot sustain that type of pressure to just keep going and going and going and going. For me, it was interesting because it was a game, right?
yeah,
So if you can gamify it in your own head and kind of what you're going for, and understand that delayed gratification, where now you can make 20 grand in a month or in a week or 2 weeks, where somebody has to work, and let's say average salary is 50 grand. So that's literally 6 months of tedious work, day in, day out, right? So, and again, you're still a very young guy, and you have lots of exploration to do and the growth to do, and where you said 250, but there'll be days, maybe in a couple of years we'll do a follow-up interview, you'll be at 2.5
yeah,
right? Most people, they literally, they play around for a month or two, they blow their accounts. Oh, this is, and in reality, you have to literally sustain difficult, focused mind for years. But then the payoff is great.
yeah,
Same thing as
exactly.
a surgeon, right? You wouldn't want to have a surgeon who read a manual and practice for a week or two, and then let's do an open heart surgery. You just slice it here, slice it there, open it up. There's something beating over there. You don't need this, you don't need that. We'll put it back together. No worries, right? So same thing in trading. But what kind of advice would you give to more younger traders who are still starting on their journey, etc.? What from your going through tough times and learning experience through the years?
So first of all, I would like to say to everyone who are just starting on and very new to the trading that take your time, and you have to understand the fact that it's one of the best professions out there, and you're not gonna just you're not just gonna become successful overnight, or maybe not even in 6 months or in 1 year. It's gonna take a lot of time. You will have to go through a lot of trial and error, as well as you will have to see yourself that how you're going to be reacting to the market. That's most important thing when it comes to you being a profitable trader. Like unless or until you understand that how you're going to be reacting to the amount of money that you're going to be making from the market, as well as the amount of money that you are going to losing in the market, then and only then you start to see that what are the areas which you need to improve. And I would say if you're new, then do not just go full in, of course. You need to have a proper job at the time when you're going to be learning, because your bills, your expenses, they should be covered by the regular job. And trading should be part-time. You have to trade part-time. You have to spend a couple of years, learn every single day, back test the strategies that you're going to be developing, check if market is giving you certain conditions, then how your strategy is playing out in those conditions. Then you need to slowly approach the market with more like that you want to be a full-time trader. But start with small and start part-time, and spend, like, say to yourself that you're going to be spending 2 to 3 years to basically invest in your education, invest in yourself, learning about yourself, your psychology, your mindset, how you're going to be developing a strategy. Then after that comes the risk management, because I think risk management is the most important thing that many new traders, when they start out, they just don't really care about. They just think, all right, so I'm going to deposit $1,000 in the account and I'm going to flip it to $20,000. And what
Right.
they are doing, they are just risking $300 in one trade on a $1,000 account, which is insane. So you are risking 30% in one trade, and you're thinking that somehow you're going to have 3 4 consecutive profitable trades and you're going to be making 20,000, but that's not the case. You may get lucky sometimes, but you have to have the understanding that how you need to manage the risk, because at the end it's not about that you're going to be just flipping small accounts. We're talking about trading multi seven figures account, and when you're
Right.
going to be trading multi seven figures account, your risk, it's not going to be 30% per trade or not even 1% per trade. It should be very minimalistic. I will
Right.
say like 0.2% or 0.3% per trade. At the same time, understand how money works. If you don't know, like, let's say that your day-to-day expenses or your monthly expenses, they are like 1,000 pounds, and you haven't lost 1,000 pounds ever in your life in one single day, then how you are thinking that when you will be risking 1,000 pounds in a trade, it's not going to affect you psychologically? It is
Right.
definitely going to have a lot of impact on you psychologically. So you need to basically see what are your monthly expenses, how much you think at the start you should be making from trading, and then divide that. Let's say that if it's like you want to make 1,000 pounds at the very start, which is very small amount, but you don't have, of course, a lot of money to invest as well. So you need to understand the money. Now, how you're going to be basically understanding it, that you have to divide that by 20. That 1,000 amount that you want to make divided by 20. When I say 20, I basically mean if you have a strategy that works, which you developed and you backtest it, then you're never going to lose 20 consecutive trades. I haven't seen anyone who can lose 20 consecutive trades. So if you're risking like 50 pounds, or let's just say we can say 3 to 4% or 5% on your account, on your personal account, by the way, not the funded accounts, then it's unlikely that you're going to blow whole of your account if you stick to that risk management, and if you make sure that you follow your trading strategy every single day, day in and day out. So I think understanding how money works and understanding your approach towards money, and also at the same time, in couple of years, that the time that you're going to give yourself developing profitable trading strategy and backtesting your data is going to help a lot if you really want to become successful.
Absolutely. That's one of the biggest tricks, even for you graduated college, whatever, and if you don't have a job, but you just want to be a full-time trader, it's very hard to sustain it when you don't have secondary income, right? That covers your basic expenses, your rent, your food, and I'm not even talking about anything, just basic expenses. Because if you have to pay rent from your account, let's say you have, instead of $1,000 pounds, you have 10,000, and you trying to basically, and all you need for your rent and your food is 2,000.
Yeah.
Let's say you can even sustain making from that 10,000 to 20% a month, which is hard enough. But let's say you make it, and you make it month two, month one, month two, three, whatever, and then you have but you still keep taking it out, so your sum never grows. It's always at about 10,000 pounds. And then one month you are break even, not even losing, break even. Now you take out the 2,000 pounds for your rent, for your food. Now you're at 8. So now you start being more aggressive. Oh, I have to not only I'm gonna have to pay another rent in 30 days. I'm gonna have to also make up money to get back to that 10,000. And that's when all that shit starts, just wheels start coming off. So you're absolutely right. You do need to have a secondary income. I know it sounds crazy because most people who come here, they want this to be their primary source of income. But you're absolutely right. It will be a lot easier for you. They have this method of running. I forgot the name of it, but basically you run slower for longer first to build up capacity in your lungs, rather than at higher beats per minute, basically, and sustain. So you go slower to go faster, so to speak. The mom here. So you take your 1,000 pounds and you treat it as an experiment, or you're learning tuition, or 2,000, whatever. So for the next year, you're just in a classroom. You experience it correctly with, like you said, you divide it into 20 trades, which is 50. Your maximum loss is 50 pounds. You're absolutely right. Nobody's going to lose 20. Well, not nobody, but the chances of you having 20 consecutive losing trades is minuscule. And the problem is you're also not going to make a lot of money from the 1,000 pounds, right? So most novice traders, they get greedy, and then they want to turn, like you said, they want to turn the 1,000 pounds into 20 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, because that's, they read on the internet or watch somebody. Oh, look at me! I turned $10,000 into $5 million, and all these stupid stories. It's bullshit, and even if you get lucky and you turn your 1,000 pounds into 20, the next time you're gonna go all in or half, you're gonna blow it. And then once you're back from 20 grand to 10 grand, you're like, oh fuck, now I'm gonna. And this is how you end up with a blown account, which is going to be zero eventually. So no, you cannot sustain a high risk gambling type of method forever, indefinitely, right? You can get lucky 5 times in a row, so you double 5 times your initial $1,000, right? So from 1,000 you go to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16 to 34, and then now I'm going to get 64, and then and you go to zero, right? So eventually, these methods are unsustainable. So you're absolutely right. Treat it as an educational process for the next year or two. Take your $1,000, first trade that as a learning experience. Then if you want to open up get a funded account, do that. If you want to start after like 6 months or a year, you want to start making small amounts of income as well on the side, right? Why not? But yeah, do have some kind of supplemental income which covers your basic needs, because that will take off all the pressure from I just need to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you don't have shelter, food, water, your brain will not be operating in its optimal state no matter what. It's just going to be in a constant stress, meaning your amygdala, the part of your brain which is responsible for fight or flight, is going to be on fire all the time. So you're not going to be able to have a clear head that is required for trading if you're if in 5 days you have to deposit money which you don't have for rent, or you're going to get thrown and be living on the street. And your girlfriend is bitching because I want to go to dinner, and you you had a bad day, and whatever, all these stories. And so absolutely right. So from all the TLDR version is, number one, it takes 2-3 years. Number two, do have some kind of supplemental income and slowly transition from regular job into trading. Then do half and half, and then once you're standing on 2 of your feet, because even no matter how professional you are, you're still gonna have bad periods of time, and and all the headache. Everybody gets kicked in the ass once in a while, even the experienced traders, right? So like Michael Burry, famously, who shorted the 2008 market, right? So he just lost $2 billion shorting S&P. During COVID, Warren Buffett lost $15 billion on the American Airlines, I think, and some other bets. So everybody gets kicked, but Warren Buffett then made $100 billion on something else post-COVID, right? But the point being is you have to have a cash. For the seasoned traders, they already have money to withstand that type of volatility. Meanwhile, if you're playing with your last couple of dollars, you're not going to survive. So yes, supplemental income, slowly graduating into transitioning from job into the trading world little by little, and take your time. And again, most young people don't have patience, right? So I mean, I didn't have patience either. This is the best business to teach you patience, because the teacher is very strict. All it does is just smacks you over the head with a stick. It beats you like a rented mule until you fucking get it. So and that's how I got it. I'm not.
Yeah, I think everybody gets like that.
Exactly. Once you lose a shit ton of money and keep losing, you're like, oh, maybe on the 100 billionth time, you're like, okay, maybe I shouldn't do this. This definitely hasn't worked for 1,000 times. I don't think it's going to work for 1,001st time, right? So that's how you learn this, to stay disciplined and not step on the landmines constantly. Because everybody in the beginning, they make the same mistakes until you smarten up and say, okay, I should not do this, I should do that. And that's why it takes 2-3 years. It's just weeding out the mistakes and growing accordingly, not to commit them again and again, etc. And this takes changing your psychology. And that's why it takes a few years to change your psychology, because trading is not trading against somebody else. It's you against you at the end of the day, against your emotional responses, against your psychology, against your personality, what type of personality you have, like you were outlining. And you have to get to know yourself. And to get to know yourself, you just have to be in the markets, have enough trigger time, be in the trades to just have enough to absorb all that, to understand what you're about and how to minimize your weaknesses and maximize your strengths, right? So what's your YouTube channel? What is it about? If you want to tell some
it's about the prop firm industry in general. I bring a lot of prop firm reviews. I do the reviews. I share my opinion about different prop firms, as well as I share the strategies or just tips and tricks that I mostly use to pass the funding challenges and to trade on the funded accounts. Recently, I have also started doing the CEO interviews of different firms. So far, very recently, I did 2 interviews. And this one, as I'm also going to post it on my channel. So it's going to be the third one, having a discussion with the CEO of.
We can do a separate one just for your channel, by the way. So no problem.
All right, perfect. Yeah,
with a more formal introduction, not formal, but I mean, you were asking me more questions than
sure.
about yourself. You know what I mean? What just briefly tell us what kind of strategy you trade nowadays? Is it more you're sitting on the higher time frames, lower time frames, what your favorite instruments are, or you don't care about instruments, or you just look at everything and find opportunities? How'd you finally arrive to the more or less profitable strategy? And, if you can share a few details about it.
All right. So basically how I trade, I start with the daily time frame, and on the daily time frame, I just don't look at one single symbol. What I do, I open up the correlation. I have 7 charts of each currency. So if it's USD, then I'm going to look at all the symbols, all the pairs of USD at one time on the daily time frame, and I'm going to identify where the overall trend of the currency is heading. Because I believe if the big players of the market, the big boys, when they invest, they don't invest in one pair, they invest in the currency. So if currency like USD, it is moving up, then most probably it's going to be moving up in all the pairs.
Right,
or if it's moving down, so it's going to be moving across the board at the same time. So what I do, I like to find this currency strength meter by using that correlation technique that I use on the daily time frame, and I see whether USD is going for the strength or for the weakness. And I do this for all the 8 currencies. I do it for USD, GBP, Euro, Swiss franc, Japanese yen, Canadian dollar, Australian and New Zealand dollar. And once I'm done with that, I basically write down, I have a system which I call it the point system for the currency strength. And I see if USD across the all pairs, if it's going in a way when that system is showing me the numbers between +3 to +7 or -3 to -7, then that means USD is strong or USD is weak. If USD is strong, then I'm going to be interested in buying USD. Or if it is weak, then I'm going to be interested in selling the USD. When I do it for all the pairs, for all the currencies, then after that, I go down to 1 hour time frame. And on the 1 hour time frame, I basically wait, or I look for the recent break of market structure. So that recent break of market structure is basically if there was a major support or resistance, and on the 1 hour time frame, there was a movement, very strong movement with a high momentum, which broke that key resistance or key support level and ended up creating a higher high or lower low. Then when it is done, I know that yes, the correlation is saying me that USD is going to be stronger because it is strong right now. And on Euro USD, Euro is dropping against USD and on the 1 hour time frame, and it just broke the recent support area and has created a new lower low. So that means I will be interested in looking or in waiting for the trade opportunity. But I'm not going to randomly just jump in after it's going to break. Once the lower low is created, then I'm going to have some patience. I'm going to wait until it pulls back. And it's going to pull back in a way. So I've seen over the last 7 years, and it repeats itself over and over and over again. So once the strong movement comes and it breaks the recent support level and it creates a lower low, the pullback, when it's going to come, first of all, it's very important for my strategy that it should come towards that break of structure. And it does come mostly towards that break of structure. So once it's going to come towards that break of structure, there is a specific pattern in the price action which I like to see, that how when the buyers are making a pullback towards that support area, how they're going to come. So what I see, like I don't really use indicators. I don't draw any lines, any trend lines. So I just wait. I just look for that there was a movement which broke the structure. The pullback is coming. Now the pullback, the way it is coming like a way, making a small higher high, then higher low, then higher high, then higher low, higher high, higher low. So basically it is having a lot of struggle to come towards the same area from where the sellers broke the market structure. When there is a struggle, that means buyers are weak. When they are weak, I'm then waiting for one sort of pattern, which I call V formation. So this V formation is basically after 3 legs or 3 movements of the pullback, when we will reach the support area from where we broke recently, there is going to be a complete reversal. So the last pullback, last movement of the pullback or last leg of the pullback, when it's making a movement and it is getting rejection at some area, it's gonna completely reverse. And the way it's gonna reverse, it will present a V-shaped structure.
Okay.
So for the sell, it's gonna be like inverse of V. So when I have that type of structure, then I go down to 15-minute time frame from where I usually take the trades. And on the 15-minute time frame, now I know that we have the lower low, we have the break of market structure, we have the currency strength meter showing us where we need to look for like whether we're gonna be taking sell or buy. On the 15-minute time frame, we have the V formation on 1 hour. So on the 15-minute time frame, I'm just gonna wait for one last movement to double confirm, which is the second confirmation that I look for, that the V formation, the reversal that just happened, if buyers are making a movement on the 15-minute time frame, they're not gonna go above the high of the V formation, and they're gonna get a rejection under it. So if they're gonna get rejected under that area, under the high of V formation, then I'm gonna be taking a sell. I'm gonna place my stops above the areas of rejection, and my target is going to be at the lower low. And other than that,
below it.
yeah, other than that, like at the lower low, that's my final target. But I see how the market is not coming for the sell movement, which just continued again. You know, after the pullback, the sellers, they continued again. If they're coming with a lot of momentum, and the previous sellers movement that happened on the 1 hour, which broke the support level, it was a fresh movement. That means after a long buyers movement on the 1 hour, that was the very first time. Yeah, then we're gonna get another movement for the sell. So I like to maximize the profits from such trades.
I will translate it into 2 paragraphs. Number 1, it took him 5 minutes to explain what he's doing, because what he just explained to you all is doesn't happen more than maybe a few times a week at best.
Yeah.
Well, right.
100%.
And when you guys are trading 5, 7, 10 trades a day, he's sitting there, he's waiting for this very particular market structure, high probability trade, because he's cherry picking a type of trade.
Yeah.
He's not sitting there because he's bored. He's, oh, let me take a trade there, trade here, trade there. And so on the long, you have a long-term trend where big players, institutional players, pushing the train, the heavy train or ship is going towards. Once you understand which direction that ship is sailing to, you want to go with that flow as well, and you use lower time frames to then use technical analysis or whatever you want to call it to identify proper places where to enter those trades. But just because the ship broke a barrier, he doesn't jump on the trade immediately, and he's not chasing. He has to stay very disciplined, because again, after 7 years of getting smacked over the stick, he realized, no chasing, because sometimes it's a false breakout and then market completely does reversal, et cetera, et cetera. So he waits for confirmation, and sometimes you don't get a confirmation, unfortunately, and you have to miss the trade and sell it, such is life. But this is what it takes to be disciplined, to wait and wait and wait. And when you finally get that, your type of setup, the A type of setup, A+ type of setup, that's when you jump in and execute. And this is how you make 20 grand a month, instead of taking 100 trades and 85% of them are nonsense. And there's, but basically, essentially a breakout to a market structure change, and a confirmation, and then a continuation. So you jump on the continuation of that flow, and that's a very tried and true, conservative, excellent setup. But they don't happen every day, and it takes time and discipline to sit on the sidelines and wait for it. So good traders get paid to sit on their hands, not to be. This is not a Las Vegas with lights and bing, 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 and you just press the buttons and everything, right? And this is how, because if you do the Las Vegas approach, you end up broke. So
Exactly.
so you have to withstand that pressure of actually sitting and doing something. That's why you do have a lot of time on your hands. You can read, you can learn about trading, or you can do even YouTube channel yourself, right? And do something, meanwhile you wait for those opportunities to strike. And anyway, it was super nice to meet somebody who is a disciplined trader, who one of the people who actually are successful in this business. And I will definitely do an interview. I'll come to your channel, as I promised.
Thanks, man. Looking forward to that.
Very soon, and we can do a proper hour-long interview with you, or whatever, however long, with you. And so I thank you, and I hope we're gonna do a follow-up soon, where
Thanks, man, for having me here.
share more tips and more talk about shop and everything else. Thank you for coming on.